Hey, everybody. I hope that you are well. Welcome to the Harness the Shift podcast, where science meets spirit and transformation happens from the inside out. I'm your host, Jay, a veteran of the United States Air Force, former medic. I did a long 22-year career in clinical research around big pharma. And now I'm stepping into, what I was educated in and my spin on everything and going through my journey and sharing the wisdom that I've gained during that journey. So stepping into this neuroscience and mindfulness strategist. I've spent much of my career on the front lines of science, but I've also learned that healing goes far beyond what we can measure with a microscope. It's physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's energetic, something that transcends conventional medicine. On this show, we'll explore bold conversations, healing insights, that help you break free from conditioning, awaken your true purpose, and reclaim your personal sovereignty. From cutting-edge wellness technology to radical truth-telling, I'll guide you through the tools and the wisdom that empower you to remember who you truly are and to activate your own ability to heal. So whether you're tuning in to learn about the power of the mind, body, and soul connection, or you're looking for inspiration to ignite your own transformation, you're in the right place. Welcome to Harness the Shift. Before we get started today, I want to show you a video
collect the light. Light, an ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. For us, it all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we're made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. Plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. LifeWave's phototherapy patches use light that can promote a general state of health and healthy activity unique to each LifeWave patch. Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared energy emitted from the body is reflected back into the body and then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy. LifeWave phototherapy patches promote an environment that enables the body to optimize its restorative energy and enhances your ability to live well without the use of harmful drugs or chemicals. To find out more, contact your distributor. LifeWave. Live long. Live well.
So that was, I hope y'all can hear me. Hold on, I'm going to do a little sound check. Can you hear me? Bueller, anyone? Oh, God. You guys, crazy times, man, crazy times. I don't know about you all, but I'm going through it. And I know some of you all out there are going through it too. So this is just a testimony to, like, you're not alone, man. You really are not. You might feel that you are, but, you know, we're all going through it because God is calling us to step in. You know, our Creator, God, the higher being, the Most High, whatever you want to call that. You know, those that are really stepping in and doing this work, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you cultivate that relationship, that time that you spend with the Spirit. And if you're really stepping in and full surrender and, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I'm going through it myself. And, you know, there's just this uncertainty, right? The uncertainty can kind of sometimes really play with you. And that's where this whole battlefield of the mind and really, you know, do I really have that concept of faith, right? These are the times where you're really cultivating. You're really like, okay, you got to coach yourself through it. It's going to be okay, that kind of thing, you know, and just coaching yourself through it. You know, you can get a life coach. I can tell you what I can tell you what I've done. I can share my experiences. I can coach you through it too. But at the same time, we have to learn to coach ourselves. And it's a delicate balance of being kind to yourself and, you know, talking yourself through it, pushing yourself when you really need to push yourself. And, you know, I'm coming into that. It's just been a crazy time. I lost my contract at the end of January, and it was like, you know what, I'm tired of this. It's been going on for like 5 years. You know, it's just been, the business has just been very volatile, the clinical research, as you can imagine. And so, it's just been a lot of, for me, kind of jumping around because I'm growing and it's something that I really don't want to be in anymore. But at the same time, it's something that I've known for a long time. And it's something that I've been good at for a long time. And stepping out of that there's some discomfort with that. So you guys are seeing like how I'm coaching myself through this whole process, and I'm sharing my journey because I feel like I know that is what our Creator wants us to do, because we've become so disconnected, right? The world, this matrix that we live in on a daily, has disconnected us from what our true, authentic nature is. And that's, you know, being compassionate. When we can be compassionate and non-judgmental to other people that are going through the things that they go through in life, and just understand that people, you know, everybody's on their journey and there is no right or wrong answer. And you just, you know, some of us have just been in survival mode for a long time. So it's breaking that away, that programming of, I got to step in and I've got to, you know, as a woman, I got to step in and I'm single. And I think, you know, I'm single by choice because, gosh, that's a great question. Now, I'm single by choice because I know that I needed to grow. In order for me to love another human being, I need to love myself. And that's a journey in itself, right? So, you know, and I've shared this before, like abusing alcohol and things like that. I mean, I was disconnected from myself. So I think, not that I'm not open to it. And while we're on the subject, I tell you, sometimes, I'm going to be a little savage here. Sometimes, I'll have people that'll reach out to me on social media and send me DMs and sometimes say kind of the most inappropriate things. And that's just got to stop because you obviously don't know who you're following. And I'm talking to you. So if it applies to you, then if the shoe fits, wear it. You don't know me. We're not cool like that. Don't call me baby. Like, that's just, I don't like that. And I'm just going to be honest. I never have. And I think it's very important that we put out what we want. We put out what we want, what we want to attract. And I just think that there's just a level of respect. I wouldn't go around calling people baby. Hey, baby. Or I just wouldn't do it. I don't talk to people like that I don't know. Like I tend to just, I tend to ask a lot of questions. And, I've reached out to people on DMs, like, I'll watch my stories and kind of see what people's interactions are. Like, I watch everything. I'm an observer, right? So, like, I've reached out to a few people and asked questions. And I had someone the other day that, I don't know, evidently took offense to that, then projected it onto me and said, I'm being sensitive. And then blocked me. And I'm just going to let you know, you're not going to treat me like that. It's not going to happen. It will not. So you do what you got to do. But just know that there's just certain things that, it's just common sense, right? And I think when people say certain things or they act a certain way or they approach people online in a certain way, like, they're not being present. Because if you were hearing yourself or you were reading what you're writing, like, you would be like, I think the lack of boundaries is just, I don't vibe with it. And like I said, I'm not for everybody. I've said this before. I'm not for everybody. I don't know it all. Stand by for a second. Okay, so you like these glasses? If you want the glasses, I can send you the link. Just send me a message in DM. But I just think they're so groovy. I'm like, ooh, those are really sharp. Sorry, I digress. Oh God, I'm all over the place. Did I ever share with you guys that that I look. Now, I don't like the labeling, but I've had ADHD. Who hasn't? Like, constant, like, all over the place, planes, trains, and automobiles all my career, right? And by the way, let me digress for a second. I actually had a recruiter call me today. They've dropped the salaries for people that do what I do. They don't want anybody that's really senior, but they want the middle of the road to know what the senior does. They don't want to pay you for travel. they want you to travel and not get paid. Like, I'm like, what the heck is going on? This is indicative of the matrix is literally collapsing. People are losing their minds. I mean, I'm just like, how do you expect someone to just planes, trains, and automobiles and you don't want to pay them to do it? Now, this is the contract position. Let me just say that. Because let's be honest, I got to have some, currency flowing. I'm doing what I can on my end. But man, I'm like, what? You want people to travel for work and you don't want to pay them, or you want to pay them half the time. Like there's travel time now. I'm like, and they've got people over a barrel because there's a lot of us that are out of work. So hence, that's why I just want to get out of the industry altogether. So, which leads me into what I just showed the video, okay, is the X39 stem cell patch. Now, the FDA won't let us say that it stimulates dormant, what I just said. So I'm going to call them undifferentiated cells because that's what they are. They're undifferentiated when they're born, and then the body triggers it to go to the heart or to the brain or to the periphery or to the kidneys, wherever you need to have rejuvenation, regeneration, whatever it may be. So I started this patch. And I alluded to this, that I was waiting on my order the last podcast. And so I didn't do a podcast this past weekend because I have decided that I'm going to probably do it on Wednesday, because I think weekends are going to be really busy, and going forward with traveling to things and all of that. So I just want to just do Wednesday. It's middle of the road. I could throw in some midweek, humor for people that are going through the shit. But anyway, so it's this patch, right? And so you put the patch on the back of your neck. I have mine right here, as you can see. And you wear this patch every day. You put it on, you leave it on for 12 hours, and you take it off, and you can sleep with it, whatever works for you, 12 hours a day, okay? Not to overcomplicate it. But so day one, you have like over 4,000 genes that are basically, they begin to reset in your body. And then what they're doing is they're resetting back to a younger state. And it's basically activating these genes to increase, and then the inflammation is decreased, which I don't know if I shared with you guys. I did a video and I can't remember it. Honestly, I can't even remember if I posted it, but just a little rundown. I have a cervical disc replacement. I got that in 2015. I have pins in my feet, in my foot, my left foot. I had to have my bone broke and realigned, and it's pinned. And so I have metal in my foot. I have metal in my neck. When I turned 50, I had a shoulder replacement on the right-hand side. The left-hand side needs it. I just have inflammation in my body. That's what's happened with the mutations in my bloodline. So we Johnsons kind of suffer from the arthritis. And so I started this patch, and I've done a lot of soul work, so I've elevated my consciousness, and obviously that brings more light, right? We slough off other things, the traumas and whatnot. because we're energetic, spiritual beings having a human experience. And so this patch, what it does is it basically, it has a crystal lattice and it reflects the light back into you. Now, we give off light. This is evidenced by, say, when there's a, like a hurricane or something like this, and they're looking for signs of life, right? You give off heat. So what it does is it basically reflects that back into your body and uses that to heal. And it stimulates these dormant stem cells to start to wake up and regenerate your body. And so, 6 weeks into it, your brain, you start to see changes in your brain. 3 months into it, you start to see collagen increased, your skin, your hair, all of that. So I'm not seeing any of that right now because I've only been on it a week. But I have to say that I'm pleasantly surprised because my joints are like gliding. And I am like, whoa, blown away. Because let's be honest, when you wake up and you're like sore and it's hard to walk, or you've been sitting for a minute and it's like, it's so hard to walk. When I drove to California this time, I could not believe how stiff I was. I just was like so stiff and it was painful. And so now I'm like, wow, like I can see a considerable difference in the fluidity of my joints, and then also pain wise. And I don't feel as swollen. Like I don't feel like everything's just so I'm pleasantly surprised with this patch. So, a lot of people can benefit from this because there's nerve generation and, memory and sleep and all of these wonderful things. And it's your own body. There's no drugs, which I'm like, this is something that I was searching for. Actually, it fell in my lap, to be honest. And I had no idea about this. And the evidence-based research that supports this patch is unbelievable. And I don't want to sit here and talk this entire podcast about the patch, but I have become a brand partner with this patch. And we do basically a 90-day challenge because that's really where you're going to see the benefits is 90 days in. And so 90 days, that gives you really an adequate amount of time to really kind of really see things from a symptom improvement, right? And I'm all about it. If it's not any drugs and it's just a crystal lattice back there. There's no drugs. Nothing is transdermal. Nothing. And this is already happening. And I'm like, what? Some of the people that I've talked to, like the people that I signed under are doctors. And I signed under a friend of mine who is, she's also into the whole light. She's a holistic, she's wellness, she's a yoga instructor, breath work. Like I signed under her. And then, so my upline are these doctors, and they weren't able to play golf because they were so inflamed and sore. And now they're 2 months into it and they're golfing. I mean, this is why I'm so excited about this product, because it's giving people back like their life. And that's really what it's about. And at the same time, there's an opportunity to really build a business. There's an opportunity to bring it and use it as another form of passive income to, a business. So say if you're a chiropractor, what a great way to add on something to have passive income and to help people at the same time. Because look, I think that's the goal. Like, we want to get to the point where we're not taking these drugs that we don't need, that our body is, body is just get ravaged by this. Drug for this and a drug for that. And then those drugs come with side effects. And look, that's a business that I know a lot about. And then let's not even talk about chemotherapy and oncology. That's a beast in itself. And this is just a direction that I'm going, where I want to be able to help people. And really, I'm not going to just be out here pushing things that I don't believe in. So I believe in this product. And if you're interested in more information, I can send you whatever it is that you want. I've got videos. There's research. It's crazy. So it works with the copper peptides in your body, and this is how it just supports all of these the dormant stem cells. It supports all of that to awaken those, because as we age, they kind of go into hibernation mode. And this is a great way of, it's the most cutting edge research out there. And the inventor, wow, the inventor's name is David Schmidt. And there's also a video where he explains what it's all about. And so if you're interested, and I'm just getting in, so I'm still learning, so be patient. I'm still learning about the product, but it truly is, it's innovative. It's so innovative, and it's, not big pharma, which I'm like all about. So anyway, so let's talk about it. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about deconstructing the false self. So last week we got into talking about deprogramming the ego and how fear controls you and how to break free. So, and I've been on this journey, well, I think probably ever since my mom passed away in 1999. So damn near 25 years, and just going through stifling and not really processing things that were happening, and just not doing the work that I needed to do to heal myself, and abusing alcohol, and, taking this road and taking that road and that path, and just kind of losing myself in life, right? So, and getting this like false sense of self. And that's kind of what happens when we're in this survival mode and we're being programmed by the matrix. And so this work, this shadow work, this, spiritual work, and I'm not talking about going to church on Sunday. I'm talking about really going in and like constantly questioning and dialing down your nervous system. I started listening to healing frequencies about 5 years ago. I have pretty much healed my anxiety. Not saying that there's not times that I'm not anxious. Yesterday was just like I was supposed to have the podcast yesterday. Yesterday was a bad day. I hate to say that because I'm grateful for this experience, but I shouldn't say a bad day. I should say it was a challenging day. Let me use the correct verbiage, because I want to, I don't want to be negative, right? There's always a positive spin on things. So, it was a challenging day. So, really being mindful of that, like we're going to have challenging days in this life. Like we signed up for it, evidently. That's so I'm told. And I'm like, really? I signed up for this? What? I must have been completely out of my mind. But anyway, so deconstructing this self, this false self that, we learned through survival mode, and I got to do this, and I got to go, 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 no matter what, right? That once you start deconstructing that and, journaling and waking up in the morning and, trying to recall what your dreams are, because there's a lot of information that's exchanged during that time when you're dreaming, in the dream state, in the alpha state. So just deconstructing that and how to know you're operating from the ego, and just really being mindful of that. So I know we touched a little bit about this during the last podcast, but one way that that you're operating from, and I've got notes, just some, you're going to see me looking down because, I got to have some things that help me recall, right? So you're operating from the ego when you take things personally, because if we're in this simulation, in this matrix, it would make sense if we're here to evolve our soul, and this is like a school, if you will, Earth school, and we're here to learn things, right? And that is true. Like every single circumstance that happens, there is a lesson to be learned. And if we're not paying attention, then we won't learn the lesson, and then we're placed back in the same situation, right? Every time. And if you can go back in your past, you can kind of map it like, ooh, yeah, that was a time, and that might have been a time too that why am I doing this again? Why am I going through this again? That kind of thing. And it's like, oh, I've been here before because I didn't get it the first time. So not to take things personal, but kind of ask yourself, okay, what am I to learn in this situation? Like this happened, whatever it may be, this happened. What am I to learn in this situation? Is it about me? Okay, let's check in. Why am I taking this personal? Okay, maybe it went back to, okay, I'm taking this personal because I'm being triggered by a situation that happened when I was younger. Most of the trauma that we carry is from childhood, right? Like those formidable years. And we take that into our adulthood, and, we take things personal, and we react with defensiveness instead of awareness. And we feel the need to prove our point. And we're attached to how others view us and how they see us. And it's just, it creates unnecessary suffering. I, for the longest time, really worried about what people thought of me. And the truth is people don't they don't really know your struggle. They don't know your struggle, your journey to really remembering who you are. And that whole process of just deconstructing everything to really go in and search for that person, that true, authentic person that is there when everything else is stripped away. Like, who are you? And we talked about that last week, where we were like, really, who are you? And dissecting that. When you take away what the world wants you to be, or what they make you think you should be, you're just left with kind of this whoa, that beautiful soul that's figuring it out. And it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And for some people, it's like, it's it's not fun. I'm grateful for the experience because I'm like this journey back to really who I am. And then I start to see things and these ideas of how we perceive others to be. And once that starts to go away and the illusion starts to break away of how we thought people were, or all of that, you just realize like, this is my life and no one's going to come and save me. Nobody's going to take care of Jamie. Jamie has to take care of her. At the end of the day, I have to do what's best for me. I have to live authentically. That's my go-to now. Like, I have to live authentically, excuse me. And I want to attract that, right? I want to attract people that are living authentically and that are giving me the same energy that I'm giving them at the end of the day. So mindfulness is it's this real-time disruptor, right? It's, oh, wait a minute. No. You're coming from the ego. Like getting to a place where you're so aware that, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said it like that. And you may even like pivot and say that out loud, like, oh, you know what? I misstepped. Or let me dial that back for a minute. Now that I'm really thinking about it, like, no. And then you can kind of recorrect, right? Mindfulness is this practice of watching your mind instead of being controlled by it. So being in the present, like, okay, so say, someone's frustrating you, just learning how to breathe, because it's not them. Sometimes it's just that they're a mirror. And well, why am I getting irritated? Right? And there's a difference between holding people accountable and being defensive. Like they're two different things. And usually, like, let's go back to that person that I was asking them a question. I was being direct, asking a question before making any assumptions about what they meant or what were they thinking or whatever. I don't want to make any assumptions about where somebody's mindset is. So I ask the questions because I'm learning that humanity is disconnected and we're not communicating like we should be. And so most folks that are in that ego and not mindful, they get offended. They get defensive because you're asking them a very direct question. And maybe they were being mean-spirited, and now you have like, whoa, I can kind of like, oh, she saw me, or like, oh, she sees, like, so there's this, ego of shame with that, right? If like they've been caught and they're trying to play it off, and then they flip it on you and you're the sensitive one. And it's like, no, I'm not being sensitive at all. Like, I'm asking you a question before I make an assumption. It's like clarifying, right? Like, and you're going to have people that are going to get triggered by that. And this person got triggered. They said, I'm being too sensitive, and blocked me. So there really wasn't an opportunity for me to re-clarify or to say, no, I'm not being sensitive at all. I'm just asking a question. I didn't get that far. So, that's why it's so important right now, because, we're being called to heal, right? We are being called to heal. We're being called to question any and all things. That includes your deepest beliefs about God, about religion. Like, we are in an earthly system that's controlled by men. It would not be far-fetched that our churches have been infiltrated, that we've received false doctrine. It wouldn't be inconceivable if these elites had esoteric teachings of this world that our Creator left us. That's why you seek and you shall find. These folks that get in here and get in these rabbit holes and whatever, and the truth is starting to come out. And here's another thing. When you start to cultivate your relationship with the Spirit, and you're doing prayer meditation, or you're reading, you're getting into the text, the Bhagavad Gita or the Bible or any of these texts that have been left behind, these ancient teachings, esoteric teachings, and you start to read these things, you got to take them back to the Spirit. What are you trying to tell me? That takes time, obviously. You got to be able to be open to signs that happen. And it's all a process. It really is. And it doesn't happen overnight. And it's this constant thing. It's every day, right? It's what am I doing? Checking in. And so in this time, like, there's times I get triggered and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in my ego. Oh yeah, I am. And this is okay. Like, I've just been all week. So here's a little self-disclosure. I've been all week, I've kind of just been like this underlying anxiety. And I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? And, I shared with you, my uncle passed away. This is my father's older brother. And he passed away on, at the end of February. I believe it was the 21st, I think, right? I want to say it was the 21st. I don't have my phone on me. But I think it was the 21st. And I think that's drudging up some things. My father passed away 7 years ago, this past January. And it's just, it kind of stirs up stuff. It just stirs up things. And I know my cousins are going through it. My uncle passed away that same year. My Uncle Jim, my father's younger brother, passed away May, I believe it was 16th. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. I'm trying to remember, and so I'm sure that they're going through it too, because every time you have some sort of a death, like this is the last brother, right? And just what a legacy. So, I'm going into it with, I want to celebrate his life, right? His legacy that he left behind, all of the amazing things that he shared with the world while he was here. And although I'm celebrating his life, there's also that loss. And so that kind of has drudged up some, and I put my finger on it, and I put my finger on it because I was triggered, and I'm like, why am I what's going on here? Like, let me check in with myself. And that was it. Like, I was, kind of missing my dad. So, yeah. It's all good. It's all good. I know they're in a better place. So, But being able to really ask yourself, okay, is this coming from my true self or is this coming from the ego? And I think I was coming from the ego a little bit because I was not wanting to really let it come to the forefront. But once I brought that out and realized, okay, oh, you know what? I'm going through a little bit of waves and missing my dad. So, right. What are you doing, Archie? Archie is here to say hi.
Say hi to everybody, Arch. What's your doing, Stank? Say hi.
Right there.
Say hi to everybody. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
Okay. He's probably getting hungry, but I'm sitting here babbling. So let me get through this. So asking ourselves, is the reaction coming from our true self or our ego? And so this is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness, like getting a mindfulness journal, which I published one. It's on Amazon. If you go to the link in the bio, in my links, it's there. So, and it's under soul coaching with Jay. Because, I'm evolving, so things change, and being open to that, I'm not the same person I was, 2 years ago in this journey, right? And it's like, I don't want to feel like I've got to be an authority. I want to be a resource. I don't think I'm better than everybody, and I don't know it all. I'm just sharing what I've learned, the wisdom that I have learned. And so we go into this whole idea of the ego, right? And some people it's hard to grasp the concept of this whole like going to war with the ego, the battlefield of the mind. And we're seeing this now, right? Where we have so many people that are programmed. And you have always had this spiritual suppression and the fear of true power, right? That the elites are afraid that if we remember who we are, that they know we will have the true power. Because the truth is, we embody love, which is higher on the vibrational scale. The elites, it's a whole different rabbit hole. We're not going to get there. So I'm just going to talk about that. There's knowledge there. There's so many rabbit holes that we can go down. Maybe we'll save that for another podcast. But why do they demonize spiritual work? So, because spiritual work is the antidote to control. If we remember who we are, they can't control us. When you have done so much of this soul work and you get to a point where you're like, I fear nothing because I know I'm covered, like you literally know, I fear nothing. If it comes into my space, I send it away. And to be in a state of peace, like that is very dangerous. That's a very, very dangerous place for someone who you want to control, right? Like controlling people with fear and all of that. They're more controllable. People that have done the work, they're uncontrollable. Like, no, because they're standing. Like they're standing in that. So spirituality is this path to true sovereignty, to your personal sovereignty, where you realize that I don't need a man on this earth to tell me that I'm free. Right? And there's a process, obviously, in the physical where you have to break free from the system. And we'll be sharing that in podcasts in the future. And I'll probably get people on that really have a lot of knowledge in that niche. I'm just trying to stay in my lane. Although I love talking about those things. So, but like meditation, this concept of mindfulness, self-inquiring, show people how to experience truth directly. And so that bypasses the ego's fear, okay, and control mechanisms. And it's like you're a complete and utter badass because you don't care. You don't let anybody control you. So this whole thing about spiritual is your own journey. The whole religion, that's man. That's somebody up there telling you, oh, this is. What you already know. There is no separation from God. If you are a child of God, then there is no separation. Just like there is no separation from my Father. Like I know that his spirit's with me. So this whole weaponization of fear in religion, these rigid religious beliefs are often rooted in fear of punishment, fear of the unknown, fear of stepping out of line, the threat of eternal damnation is one of the most powerful control tactics used by organized religions. So questioning these beliefs would mean stepping into your own power and questioning everything. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous for those who profit from keeping you in fear. We're on earth. They use fear all the time. They used it 5 years ago. And what happened? I'm not picking on anybody, but they used fear to do this, and they convinced people to do this without any safety data. And now we're seeing the safety data come out, and it's stunning. So fear can make you do things. And you know, most soldiers that are out here, they know this, right? When you're in survival mode and you're in fear, it's not a good place to be because you do not make good decisions. When you're in the present and you stay in the present, not too much in the future, not too much in the past. Although we do have to look back at the past a little bit to kind of see how far we've come. We have to kind of plan for the future. Where is it that I want to go? Once you do find out, well, what is my purpose? Sometimes you'll recognize that some people, are on track with what is it they're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. They've been on track the whole time. They've just kind of been maybe aligned with it, alongside of it, but not necessarily aligned with it, and just a little tweaking or a little bit of working on the mindset will kind of bring that thing into alignment, right? Bring that mission into alignment, purpose, bring it, and align with God. So questioning these beliefs, questioning any and all things in this system. And if you're over here, you're condemning people to hell and you're talking like damnation to them, like that's not a good place to be. That's not what God called you to do. It's not. And I don't tolerate it because I don't do it, and I'm not going to tolerate it. People can say what they want. I'm not for everybody. I've been on this journey. I full on surrendered 5 years ago. Literally, I was on my hands and knees and I said, I am fucking done. I am done. Pardon my French, but sometimes you got to use the F word. I was literally done. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I am done with this life. This is bullshit. And I was done. So it's been that, okay, you know what? You tell me what you want me to do. Because obviously I don't have it figured out. So what do you want me to do? So, and I've been on this journey, and it's been crazy. And, you know, I look back and I'm like, man, I should have been chronicling this entire time. But, you know, I think sometimes the day to day, it's like, it's important for you to just kind of keep that, because that's the beauty of this journey, is to really just be grateful for it on a daily. But yeah, I mean, I go back and I think, I saw a lot of this country in these past 5 years. I've done a lot of growth in these 5 years. I've lost people that were not in alignment with me. Kind of drifted from people, came back to some people. Been able to make peace, and, and peace is for yourself. Look, at the end of the day, nobody's perfect, and we're all here to just get through this thing we call life. And those of us who can step on the battlefield of the mind and really check our ego and not get offended by every single thing, and really, okay, what can I learn? What can I learn in this situation? It's a humbling experience. And a lot of people are being called. They're like, what is going on? And it's like, just surrender. I know that sounds like she's saying it's easy. I've done the work. I've done it. I know it's not easy, but I'm asking you to just do it, because you either got to do it now or you're going to be doing it in another lifetime. Either way. So hold on a sec. I'm going to check something here. I want to see if I got any. Oh, yeah, here we go. I just want to see if I've got any. Questions. So who's on? Who's? I see two people. Who is that? I see two people. Who is that? I'll check back in a minute. Oh, hey, Viv. Now I see you. Okay. Hi, Viv. Well, this was like an hour ago. Sorry. Oh, man. I get to chatting and I'm like, okay, I got to get this in. So let me go back. So how spirituality liberates you. So true spirituality is about remembering who you really are. Not what other another person tells you to believe, who you truly are. Bottom line. And as you step into your own awareness, you realize that you're not separate from the divine. Like, you're here on a divine mission. You have a purpose and you have a direct connection to God. So there is no separation at all. And so this mindfulness, meditation, shadow work are all tools to help you shed layers of the fear-based conditioning that this system creates to keep you from connecting to your true self. So imagine if everyone was to really just dive in and do this work. Like, where we would be, where people would learn to be more compassionate, understanding, loving, kind. And we have to do this work because we project what we are into the world. So, if we sit back and we're like, astonished by the things that we're seeing, it's a projection of what we've put out in the world, where we've, because of the system, because we weren't mindful and in the present, because we were in survival mode, this has happened, where things kind of gone to the way we didn't really see what was going on. We were asleep, and then all of a sudden we're starting to wake up and we're realizing, whoa. And this is why it's so important, like on a psychological level, our country is responsible for programming us. That in itself is crimes against humanity. Oh man. It's not just the big pharma piece of it. It's this psychological warfare that has actually been done on purpose. So stepping out of that and removing ourselves from it and not being so inundated into the programming. When we've done this work of shadow work and we're so mindful, we can be in a situation where we're watching this unfold from up in the nosebleeds, where we can see the entire field. We can see plays before they even happen, because we're so far up, bird's eye view of what's going on, and not this tunnel vision of, oh my God, that's going on and that's going on. We can be out here, bird's eye view, what's going on? Okay, let me dip in. And then we know, okay, if we start, okay, then it's time for me to get out. It's time for me to take a break. I mean, there's some folks that are on this, in the matrix, in the loop, mostly the political loop. And it's just, how are you supposed to know what's going on when you're not going out and diving into rabbit holes and seeking the truth and watching podcasts that are people that are actually foots on the ground and completely have completely go really against what really the mainstream media is reporting. They're right there, and they're reporting it. And it's such a contradiction, it's a lie. And it's like, what? So, here we are going on this trajectory. You have people that are all up in the fear, oh, the world's ending, the rapture, and we're all going to die and all this. And then you have the folks that are in this work and are doing this work, and they're like, oh, no. This is great to see people really are starting to wake up to the corruption of the system, and that we're really in this system, that if we went and we were on an island and we were just living our best life, we could be loving and patient and kind. And I think we're seeing things that we like, oh my gosh, that are blowing our minds. And we're realizing, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live in a world that's like that. And no, it's, I look at it like it's game over, man. It's going to take a little bit, but, this deprogramming's going on, I can see, and we're starting to see where it's a little bit more balanced. It's clearly opposite too. So that means to me, like they're okay, trickle, trickle, trickle. Let me show the contradiction. Let me show the truth. Let me show the contradiction. So it shows, whoa, what's going on here? And, not everybody is going to wake up. Not everybody is meant to wake up. There's a lot of people that are non-player characters or whatever you want to call them that are just kind of going to be in the programming. So it just comes to a point where you just have to disengage and not engage with people on that level anymore. So ego death and this void. So what happens when the ego dies? And it's not literal. It's not a literal death. Okay. It's basically you've beat the enemy into submission and now you got to build it back up. Okay. So something I can attest to, when I went into the military, all of that programming that I had about, the way things are or whatever it may be, or maybe I didn't have discipline or whatever it may be, totally deprogram and program. Like literally, that's what they do. The moment that you get off the bus, wherever you go, well, back in the day, I don't know how it is now, but you get off the bus and it's like instant, man. It's like, and it's, part of it is fear too, but I look at it like you've beat the enemy into submission. I'm watching you. I'm so mindful of you, ego. You're a liar. That's all you do is lie. You lied to me and I've beat you down. That's basically ego death. And so it's like this complete loss of identity, time, separation from the divine. You realize, oh my gosh, like I was in this fog. I was in this delusion. Like you'll hear sometimes, like with personality disorders, this delusion of grandeur, like I'm this, I'm that, this inflated sense of self, which we see a lot with the folks out on the West Coast in a little town called Hollywood. So this inflated sense of self, you see a lot of like, I want people to idolize me. I care what other people think, that kind of thing. So the mind stops existing as I, and it dissolves into this pure awareness. You're aware of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You can observe your thoughts. Okay, where am I at here? And check in. And sometimes people will describe this ego death as becoming one with everything. And it's this process of questioning everything. The one thing that I think is really advantageous to jump in rabbit holes is that you're opening your mind up to integrate new information, and you're working through that cognitive dissonance, and that can take, it can take a while. I've shared before, like it took me a long time to go down the rabbit hole of, the children, because I just did not want to believe it. And when you go down a rabbit hole, especially some of the rabbit holes that I went down, where it's dark web kind of rabbit holes, you know that it's true. And like, I only share that stuff with certain people. And I do believe my Telegram channel has all that. I share all of that in one place because I just don't want that out. I want it to be in a place where people can go if they want to go. People can go look if they want to go. And, I've been doing this. I'm a deep diver. If I don't know something, I go and I look for it because there's a lot of folks that, have so much information. Shout out to Jojo, my friend Jojo on Facebook. Man, so much stuff, right? And it's like you're constantly learning. And it's like when you start to jump down one rabbit hole and you're waking up your brain on a neuroscience level and you're like, you just want more information. And it's like you get to a point where it's like, okay, let me take this in. I'm going to read it. Okay. And then more, and I'm going to read it and I'm going to put that. Okay. I want to take some of this, take some of that. So it's like, I kind of know a little bit of, I'm kind of like, what do you call it? What is that called, guys? Where you're like a jack of all trades, right? Something like that, where it's like, oh yeah, I got all that. Patty, yes. I agree with you, Patty. Like, as far as reading the word, I think we have that text, which is the Bible. We also have the Bhagavad Gita. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't read things that were here before Christ. And we also need to read it and also read it with spiritual discernment because we have been programmed. And we know that it's been infiltrated. So, when we dive into it, talk about it, get with people that are, kind of in that same mindset of they've gone down that rabbit hole and that rabbit hole, and being able to integrate that information. So most definitely. And yes, many friends that you adore they've been caught up in the mainstream media lies. That makes me so sad. I understand. Oh man, I understand. And I'm sending you love because I so get it. Yeah. It's an awareness of God all day, everywhere, communing with Him constantly. That's what I have become aware of. I talk to Him all the time, totally in my moments. Oh my gosh, yes, right? It's such an amazing thing. And it's like, okay, Patty, thank you so much for sharing this because like you're cultivating your relationship, right? And like follow Patty because you have your, that you're doing your stories, which I know I need to get better at that because I think you build rapport with people. And so yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah. This journey is something, isn't it? So becoming one with everything and becoming one with going out and listening, going and being, man, it's something to just get into nature, get away from the noise, quiet the noise that we have in our mind or what we have in this matrix that we live in. Sitting just for 20 minutes, just go and sit and observe every thought that arises. Like meditation isn't just about, it's not really quieting your mind, you're observing your thoughts. okay, this popped in. Let me write that down. Like, let's say you're working through self-limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be good enough. This is the ego. It's the ego. It's like, it's a well elaborated lie. Number one, the ego is. And it's like this mafia in your head that's telling you you're not good enough, but you are good enough because you're connected to the Most High. So of course you're good enough. And this is what the system has done. It's hijacked your mind. So we take it back, right? So deep meditation dissolves this like default mode, right? This default mode network that we have. I'm not good enough. Yes, I am. And sometimes you have to be in that battle with the ego. Yes, I am good enough. What are you talking about? And shutting down that, not allowing that ego to shut down your sense of self. Like when you know and you start to step into what your purpose is and sharing and really understanding, everything that's out here, like dive into it. There's so much to learn, right? Like go out there on your search engines, probably not Google, but like Yippee or DuckDuckGo, and search esoteric teachings and see what comes up. And when you go back and you're reading that, it's all in alignment with the teachings of Jesus Christ: loving, patient, kind, understanding, being non-judgmental, understanding that people are right where they need to be. It's not our responsibility to wake people up. It is our responsibility to drop the seed, and then God will water that seed. And when we hit that cognitive dissonance, that's when we need to stop, because we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything but causing more issues, more suffering, right? Because look, they're programmed, brainwashed, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it. People are not operating in their true self. So anyway, so try this exercise. I will tell you that there are people in this spiritual community that have been using psychedelics in these, for deep meditative states to experience ego death. I have not personally used that, so I can't really speak to it. I know, some of the people that I've listened to or I've talked to that have, it's been very meaningful for them, because it allows you to kind of just be the observer, not attach any emotion or anything to that. I don't know. Maybe I'll have somebody on. Who knows? If there's anybody out there that knows and, has a lot of not, you don't even have to have a lot, but if you have knowledge and you want to come on and share, like I want to build this podcast. And so I'm just putting it out there because I want to attract. I'm not chasing, I'm attracting. Right. So the people that want to come on the podcast, that vibe, we have the same thing. You got to start somewhere. I mean, I don't have a lot of followers, but you got to start somewhere. So sitting down for 20 minutes and observing these thoughts as they arise and asking yourself, if I am not my thoughts, who am I? So kind of get back to, well, who are you at the end? When we strip away everything else that the system has said who you are, what's left? And writing that down, like thinking about it, going through this, doing that, and then immediately writing it down. Because when we go back and we write down certain things, then we can go back and kind of assess, okay, well, this right here, maybe I need to do X, Y, Z. We can really kind of look at it from an objective state where we can say, okay, what is this tied to? And let's go back to here and that idea of shadow work. Like, where is this coming from? And like being cool with, okay, this journey is going to take me back to a painful time in my life, but I don't have to, I don't have to attach any emotion to that. I can just be observant. I don't have to re-traumatize myself. I just need to observe it, free from any emotions, feelings, or thoughts. We can look at it objectively when we take time to be in the present. And so now we're going to talk about building the sovereign self. What is a sovereign mind? A mind that is no longer controlled by fear, external validation, or authority. Let me say it again. No longer controlled by fear, external validation, or authority. And I can honestly say that I'm like stepping into my savage phase. Like, I know that I'm not here for everybody. I'm only here for whoever I attract. And I hope that the wisdom that I share can help people get on the right track, you know? And at the end of the day, Earth is not our home. We're passing through, and the Spirit is calling us to share this journey, right? And to help people along the way. That's what it's about. You know, like I have teachers, you know, I'm teaching, right? Like I have coaches, I'm coaching, right? Like you're always going to be a student and you're always going to be a leader at the same time, right? In this journey. So the sovereign mind is not controlled by fear or external validation or authority. And it questions everything, even your deepest beliefs in religion. It questions everything, including yourself. You're going to question yourself. This is the process of really being mindful, questioning yourself, questioning your actions, questioning, okay, not because you need external validation, but at the same time, like, how am I being perceived by other people, right? Because we don't want to come across where we're like being a jerk, and not being loving and patient and kind and understanding, right? It chooses the truth over comfort. You know, this journey it's not an easy one. At all. And so when you're choosing the truth, sometimes the truths that are being revealed are uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable because maybe we're coming and we're grappling with this idea we've been lied to. So there's that feeling of betrayal, that, man, I've lived my life thus far and none of this is true. What are you talking about? But, you know, it's all about mindset. You can say, okay, thank you for allowing me to come into these truths. Now I know who I am. And then being grateful for this journey, right? And not attaching so much emotion to, oh my God, I've been lied to. But saying, okay, now I know the truth. Now I'm just that closer to really being in my true authentic self, right? That I can be what I'm supposed to be in this mission, right? This, you know, understanding the assignment that we're here on Earth to evolve our soul and to really break through this programming. Because a lot of what Hollywood does is predictively programming. It really is happening. Like it's not just somebody making up some story. They're doing it. So they make movies to predictively program you that, oh, that's just in the movies. And it's not. Like they do it on purpose because it's all about psychological programming and keeping you in a box. And look, if you want to be in a box, cool. But I don't. And I know there's a lot of people that don't. So kudos to all of you that are doing the work. Mindfulness, how to rebuild after this deprogramming, because that's really what it is. It's this deprogramming. Okay, that's not true. This is true, right? When you sit with God and you're like, this is what's true. What's going on over there is not true. What's going on there is a distraction to keep me from doing the work. And I will share that if you can, by all means do it, because I took 6 months off of social media. I didn't do nothing on, I would post, if I was out, I've driven across the country like 2 or 3 times, actually 3 times, over the last 5 years. So posting stuff like that, but I didn't engage really. I didn't really share too much stuff. I just checked out where I could just focus on living in this awareness, this place that I had not really, been in a long time. I think as a kid, I was very aware of things that, and I think that's where a lot of maybe my trauma took place, because I'm like, what the heck? Why am I here? This is crazy. It's a crazy world. I even knew that as a kid. Like, I don't belong here. This place is weird. So, just staying in observation mode, right? And I kind of got away from that, trying to keep up with the world. And so staying in that observation role rather than being in the reaction, right? Reaction mode. So observation mode rather than the reaction mode. Recognizing the old ego patterns that try to reemerge, that happens. That definitely happens. It's been happening to me. I've kind of brought some things in and done some healing over the last 2 months, not working. So, I've got this funeral that I'm going to, celebration of life, positive spin. This weekend I'll be in Chicago. So coming back, it's, hitting the ground running. And, April's going to be a busy month for Jamie. I got a lot of things to do. I got a book to finish and get that out and published so the masses can have it and utilize it. So get yourself a mindfulness journal. You don't have to buy mine. I would love it if you bought mine. It's on Amazon. And it's the link is in my bio. But yeah, the mindfulness journal is important because it asks you questions, right? When you're starting out in this journey, like it asks you questions where you can kind of like jog your thought processes, because it can be a little overwhelming. So journaling, it creates a new internal narrative. When you write down what you truly believe, you separate from the societal programming. And if you're asking yourself, if no one is watching, who would I be? If no one was watching me, engaging with me, who would I be? Right? And mine is, I'm the daughter of the Most High, and I'm here to help people reconnect to their true self, to learn what they truly have inherently, which is being loving and patient and kind and understanding. And, just doing this work, this deprogramming work, and encouraging people to go, like, just keep going, because it's the most rewarding work that you'll ever do for yourself. When you can get to a space where you know who you are, like you're going to attract what you are. And if you learn to like go through this process of ego death and really just deprogram it, and then you start to reprogram it, being mindful in that process is like the greatest gift. And, you know, I think to myself that, you know, I've been on this journey, but you know, I've been on this journey alone. I mean, I have my sidekick Archelu, and he's with me, but you know, I've been through this. So sometimes I have to step back and say, look, I've had a lot of, God has been so good to me, giving me the time to be able to do this work. So I feel like I've kind of been on that fast track because I've had so much time to just really focus on that. So I'm grateful for the last 2 months to kind of work through some other things to get me on the right track. And so, yeah, I'm going to be coming back from this this weekend, come back and really just hit the ground running. So I'm excited. So I just want to encourage you, you know, to do that, to remain mindful, to journal every day in the morning, journal right after you wake up, make sure you write it down because it's like Men in Black, boom, your memory's gone, right? So journaling, shadow work, clearing all of those residual ego traps, like every time you catch yourself falling back into fear or into anger, like, what am I angry about? It's not that person, but what they're saying to me is triggering. So I got to ask myself, are they just being a jerk? Or is this really a mirror that I have to ask myself, what are you angry about? Let's go there. And usually anger is tied with fear, right? Or some sort of attachment. And you know, you go through this journey and it's like, you learn that, you know, we really do have unhealthy attachments to the people that we love. Like, and this is part of the system. Like, that's just the way, that's the way that the system is, that makes us dependent on other people. And I gotta be honest with you. I love you so much. I gotta be honest with you that this is a journey you have to go on by yourself. And it's not anybody else's responsibility, but you to go on that journey and to choose yourself, and that it's okay. You're not selfish because you're choosing yourself, because if you can heal yourself, you're giving the world the most authentic version of yourself. And like, that's an amazing gift because you have something to share with this world. Everyone does. Everyone has their own unique talent, whether it's wisdom, whether a painter, whether they're a drawer, or they sing, or they create music, or they write music, or everyone has a gift, right? And so it's kind of finding out what that is. And so I just encourage you to just do the work. You're going to have to do it now. You're going to have to do it either now or in another lifetime, you know. So the shadow work can clear all of these residual ego traps that keep you in this fear, in this anger and attachments. And it unpacks the layers that keep the ego alive, right? So when we're constantly in the, it's like once you wake up and you start doing this, like you're constantly, man, okay, let me be kind, loving, and patient. Like, say, for instance, you know, maybe you go out to eat and the server is just not a nice person. Like, that doesn't give you the go to be like to match that energy, right? Like, no, you be up here and engage. Ask questions. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But nonetheless, that's what we should do, right? And plant the seeds where we can plant the seeds and not force anything. And not engage. Like when we're having, I got to get the last word in, or I got to say this, I got to prove my point, or whatever. Like that's ego. Let it go. Like if people aren't getting what's being going on, what's the point of pushing? It's like, it doesn't make sense. It's not going to work. I mean, this is why this is going on. This is why it's taken so long. I think I'm just giving a perspective here, I think, because people are like in their ego. I got to be right. I know I'm right. And that might be the case. You might be right. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, you got to understand the audience that you might be saying that to, that person, they may not know, that might not be their truth right now. And they haven't done the work or whatever it may be. So why argue? Like it doesn't serve any purpose. Truly doesn't. And if you think it does, then okay, well then you might be in your ego. You are. So meditation. This is a time where we can like just shut everything out. Just sit there, listen to nature and just bring it down, right? And when your sovereign mind can rest in the stillness, it does not need external validation. I don't need anyone to tell me, "Oh, hey, you're this or you're that." I don't do this to seek external validation. I'm doing this because this is what I've been called to do. If people like it, cool. If they don't have to dial in. I'm going to do it no matter what. So, yeah, like if I was to fall into that space of giving a shit, then I probably wouldn't do this. But I don't give a shit, so. But anyway, so there's no need for this external validation. And the more time that you can stay in silent awareness, the less power the ego has. And so this is that saying I said, like ego it's the battlefield of the mind, right? It's this battlefield. You're going to war with the ego and on a daily. And you learn to like just master it. And so the ultimate question on this like two-part podcast is, if you're not your name and you're not your thoughts and you're not your beliefs, then who are you? It's something, right? So I challenge you guys to just spend one day observing your thoughts instead of reacting. Like just sit back, don't comment, just watch. Just sit back and like if you start to engage, just pull back. Shut it down. And just train yourself, right? This is how we do it. And that if the spirit leads you to comment, then that's fine. That's another thing. If you have some sort of nugget of wisdom to comment, yeah, but if you're going to just comment to argue with people, it's like, what's the point? So I challenge you to do that. Spend a day. I don't think there's enough in a day. Try it for a week. Start a day, take it one day at a time, but go for the next week because we're going to reconvene next Wednesday. And spend a day observing your thoughts instead of reacting to things. Like, what's going on in the world, right? Instead of reacting to it, just observe it and write it down. Write down like what your thoughts are and like how did you catch yourself? Like just really analyze yourself. And then shoot me a DM and tell me what did you discover by doing this? What did you discover during that time where you sat in an observational role of the shit show that's going on in the Matrix? And what did you discover by doing it? And then I think the next podcast we're going to talk about like breaking these final layers of programming and stepping into your full presence. And, you know, taking a deeper look of how perhaps maybe spiritual suppression and fear-based religion, the control of it, intersects with ego programming to keep people from realizing their full potential, and how we can integrate mindfulness into that picture and meditational prayer. And meditation, by the way, is in the Bible, the word. So yeah. Shadow work. And throughout that, I want to be able to give the listeners practical tools to deconstruct these layers, right? And that's what that's all about. And so, like, I wanted to start out this podcast really kind of diving into this whole thing about what the ego is and why are we going to war with the ego and why is the ego the well-elaborated lie and why? Because it's all connected. We're mind, body, and soul. Like, you know, I studied transpersonal psychology for the last 3 years with the Newman Institute, Mount Shasta. My teachers were here in the Portland area. They've since moved to Hawaii and did breath work and all of that, which is, you know, breath work is an amplified state of consciousness where we can get to a point where like we're taking in a lot of oxygen and we're allowing ourselves to just kind of let the spirit take over, being in an observational standpoint and really observing what we're seeing in this amplified state. And, you know, utilizing these things out here, absent of fear, to really go there and, you know, it's all about, for me, it's all about me seeking the truth. I don't want anyone telling me anything. I want to take the wisdom, what I hear, and go back to the spirit and say, okay, is this true? How do I work through this? And I think that, you know, we have teachings that were here before Jesus's teachings, and we would be remiss if we did not look at all of the esoteric teachings that have been here and have been hidden, right? And that there could be a possibility that we've been deceived in all avenues, right? Deceived about everything. Therefore, we must question any and all things. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've been talking to a friend of mine, Alan. I was in the Air Force with Alan. Man, what a character. And I'm like, he wants to come on the podcast, and I know it's going to be a good time because that's my bro, man. We knew each other when we were way in our 20s, and it's just like, I'm so excited to have him on. So I'm not quite sure. We haven't locked down a date, but I kind of want to put that out there. And he's going to come on and share his story. He just lost his mother, so I want to send him love because he's coming. He is having a funeral forthcoming, so I want to send him love. But looking to bring him on to talk about his journey. And I think my friend Bob H., who is a functional medicine doc, going to have him on. He is well versed in the teachings of Jesus Christ, so we'll be talking about that. And yeah, so if you're interested in coming on this podcast and just sharing your story, that's what it's all about. Like, I want to have everyday people that are going through it, that want to share their experience. I want to provide a platform for that. And I think having different perspectives about things is a good thing. I like the interaction. I don't like to just sit up here and talk to myself. I like to interview people. So it's something I enjoy. So if you're interested in coming on and really just talking about your journey, I want to hear it. And, if there's a special niche that you have, that knowledge that you have about the system that you want to share with people, like, nothing's off limits. I mean, nothing at all. Like, I pretty much can hang with everything. So, yeah, if you're interested in coming and talking about your journey, I think maybe the only prerequisite is, are you doing this work, right? If you're stepping in and doing the work of deprogramming the ego, that would probably be the only prerequisite, because I think it takes a little bit of acknowledging that, right? Yeah, and you can be on your journey or been on your journey or just starting your journey, whatever it may be, coming on and sharing your story, because I think that's an important thing to be doing right now, is sharing it, so that we can, build a community. And so, yeah, we're going to hit the ground running next Wednesday. So let me just answer. Let's see here. Okay. I answered that. All right, let me look here. Okay. What is going on here? Hello. Gosh, we're already at 2 hours. I was wanting to not have to do this for 2 hours. I'm so sorry. I'm like long-winded. All right, so I'm going to shut it down because my Facebook is locking up for some reason. I can't even see the chat. So if you said anything, I'm sorry. I just didn't get an opportunity to answer the chat. It's not jiving. I don't know. But anyway, so thank you so much for dialing in. And until next time, harness the shift. Talk to you soon.